goes live on Facebook. I've been told.
There we are.
There we are.
Yeah.
Are we live at the moment? Yes. Oh, we are live. Yes, I see a little book there. Folks, a very warm welcome to you this evening. I must say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where in the world you watch this from, whether you're like Dave Bell in the Philippines, if you're in New Zealand, Canada, America, Europe. We have viewers from all over the place. With me this evening is the usual Matt Boland. We've got Richard Holland. We have Danny Brosnan. We have Peter Martin. We have Claire Devney. And joining us, our very special guest. It's an honour to have him on, and we thank him for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us. Is the former Ireland under-20s player. He currently plays for Leinster. His club is Clontarf. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Alex Soroka. Alex, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks
very much. Are you
well? Lovely to be here.
Good man. Now, are we all well? Are we all well? Matt, Richard.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah? We're all good.
Fantastic person. Fantastic. That's how I'm doing, bro.
Claire Devney, you okay? Down the bottom there.
I'm surviving. Pre-season started back last night, so safe to say I can barely move.
Right. How did your
aches and pains ever?
How did your training start?
I coughed half a go up and then I coughed the other go up. So we're grand. I'll be back tomorrow for more, so it's all good.
Okay, very good. Okay. Right, what we normally do every week, we talk about all things all things rugby and rugby related. One thing, Alex, I'll come to you first because I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Names on the back of jerseys. I mean, an awful lot of people are saying they don't like it. Some people are saying it's kind of like it's a bit of a Marmite issue. Do you have any thoughts on it? Does it matter? Does it bother you? Do you care?
Yeah, I suppose with the way that we're trying to grow the game, I think it's a good idea. I understand why people are kind of against it in terms of it's a bit like football-y or a bit soccer-y. But I think it's important to grow the game both for fans and for players because as you grow the game, more revenue comes in. Players are able to obviously rugby's not a career for life. It's only 15 years, so it probably helps them get a bit more exposure, a bit more media exposure, and then in turn kind of benefits the player in that way. So personally, I think it's a good idea, but I can see why people do think it's a bit football-y or a bit soccer.
But do you know why, Alex? Do you know why I don't like it? And the reason I don't like it is because it kind of individualizes the player as opposed to the game being a team sport. Is that a? Would you?
Yeah,
that's my angle on that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely takes away from the kind of team aspect of it. When you do put names in the back of jerseys, but I think it's good for the player though. It kind of grows the game in terms of what if a young kid wants a Johnny Sexton jersey or a Gary Ringrose jersey, they're able to do that now, which probably in turn helps grow the player's popularity more if they see someone wearing like a Ringrose or Sexton jersey.
Yeah. There you go. Look, there's a message for you there, Alex. Look,
yes,
on the tarf, Alex.
Thanks a million.
There you go.
Thanks a million. Thank you.
Right. Sorry, go on, Claire.
That's from Dara Weston.
Oh, Dara.
Dara said that, yeah.
My pocket to keep me happy. Don't worry.
Translation, please.
Subtitles will be.
You have your punchy translators. I gave it to you. Come on. Seriously.
Okay, yeah, it's back working now. It's okay, thank you.
Matt Boland, names on the back of shirts.
I'm on the fence on this one. I don't really. I can see the positives and I can see negatives. Me personally, I don't like rugby being associated with soccer and that sort of stuff. But I can see the benefits of it for fans looking and they know which players are playing, etc. Like you have said and Alex has said. So I mean, try it out and see what happens. It's just one of those things. It's not going to affect the players. It's not going to affect the game as such. It's just the advertisement of it. of the players in the back and that sort of stuff. I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you.
Okay, Richard Holland.
I don't really care either way. The only thing is, if the ref is going to do you now, he'll know your name.
Well, now you being a prop, Richard, or an ex-prop, you get away with murder in that position, don't you?
Well, yeah, the dark arts are there a bit, yeah.
Well, there you go. Danny Brosnan.
There's a great advantage, right, with maybe new people coming in, or maybe people that mightn't be as familiar with certain members of the team. They might get used to them a little bit better. But so the biggest disadvantage was, and we've used this before with our club, is sometimes you swap jerseys between 6 and 7 and stuff like that, between different players, just to make sure if the referee was kind of saying, 6 are on the warning, we'd swap jerseys with another player at half time. Just as a bit cheeky, because he'd get confused as well, maybe. Just a little bit of a trick we used to use. But no, other than that, I think it's a good enough idea if you're trying to get a bit more familiar with players you might be seeing on a more regular basis. So that's what's it's an advantage that way.
Oh, James.
Okay, James Grennan has joined us. James Grennan, meet Alex.
Lovely
Alex, meet
son.
James Grennan.
Good to see you, man. Yeah. So yeah, names on the back of the shirt. I was backstage when you were discussing that. Personally, I think it's a lot of bollocks.
All right,
leave it to the Wendy Ball Brigade. That's all I think.
Thanks, James. Hitting the red breast already, I see. Peter Martin.
Yeah, look, it's as Alex said, like, if it's going to help grow the game, by all means, do what you kind of have to. The only other thing I suppose is, and it just going to occur to me there this evening, is that if there's a big game coming up and there's a few question marks about team selection, if you got buddy in with the kit man, you'll know whose name has been printed on a jersey, who's up for the 13 jersey or the 7 jersey or whatever. Team selections could be leaked, perhaps. Not that probably makes a huge.
Sure, no, Jerry Thornley does it. Jerry Thornley does that in the Irish Times or Independent or wherever he writes for. He knows the team the day before it's announced more often than not. He gets it bang on,
True.
Yeah, yes. I don't overly worry about that. Claire Devaney, names in the back of shirts, yay or nay?
Yeah. It doesn't bother me. I know we're all comparing it to soccer ball, but doesn't NFL have their names on the back of the jersey? Not only soccer.
They're supposed to, yeah.
So it's great scheme of things. Names on the back of the jersey. As long as we play rugby, I don't care. As long as we play good rugby, it doesn't matter if their names are on the back of it or not.
Okay.
Do the 7 boys and girls have it?
I don't know.
Right?
I think so. I think so.
I've no idea.
Yeah.
Well, come here, Alex. Maybe you might know this. I don't know this, but if, let's say, you get your name on the back of a jersey, right?
Yeah.
Who owns the rights to that? Do you own the rights to that, or do you get royalties of jersey sales, or how does that work?
If your name's on the back of the jersey.
Yeah. Let's say you have Soroka on the back of a jersey, and it's in Light Size Sports. It's an Ireland jersey. How does that whole thing work?
It's actually a good question. I'd assume that the player would maybe get some sort of royalties, but I have no idea. I only heard of it for the first time a few hours ago when Irish Rugby posted, so I'm not quite sure about how it's going to work in that sense. So yeah, but you'd assume that the players would get some sort of, like, even a small royalty from it, but I don't know.
No, that's a very good point just raised there.
Yeah, Dara Weston has a great point. Let's face it, lads, with the new Castor jerseys, the getters will fall off after about 5 minutes anyway.
Actually, Alex, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. What do you think of Castor?
Yeah, it's actually, to be honest with you, that's actually quite good. It's a change from Adidas, but yeah, I got the gear initially. I was a bit skeptical of it, to be honest with you, but we've got the gear and it's great quality, very lightweight, very durable. So yeah, enjoying it. and the letters haven't fallen off the jerseys yet. So I'll tell you to the
It's still pre-season, Alex.
Well, yeah, it's still pre-season. Yeah, still pre-season. Yeah.
Just going back to the names on the jerseys, I remember you'd be a young lad and there'd be lads going around with soccer jerseys, and they used to go into whatever shop and you get whatever number you want on it, like 7 Cantona or whatever. That could be the way they'll be doing it, like same as always.
Yeah.
And they charge €1 a letter or whatever it is.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. Grand job. I just wanted to ask the group that. I don't know if you saw the foul, the Argentinian foul on the Williams after 16 seconds. Now, the citing commissioner has since decided that the red card threshold was reached. And you being a professional rugby player, how does that particular incident sit with someone like you? I'm not asking you to speak for everyone, but just you personally, that the ref didn't spot it at the time. Andrew Brace should have blown up. He saw Williams was knocked clean out for a couple of seconds, and he didn't blow it up.
Yeah. I watched it live, so I seen it live, and my initial reaction was I thought it was not fair play, but as in like rugby collision, rugby incident. I think Andrew Brace used the term. But then I've thought about it a bit more, and I kind of see, I don't know if I do myself, but I see why the citing commissioner did side him. Like on the one hand, to be fair to Malia, like it's not intentional, it's not malicious. He's sprinting full force off a restart, and he tries to block it, and like he's not trying to hit him with his hip and his head. So that's why initially I thought it was fine, but then looking back on it, it's probably a bit reckless, and it does lead to like it's very similar to remember the CJ Standard card a couple of years ago. Very
similar. Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, he touches the ball there, but if he doesn't touch the ball, or if Grant Williams miskicks it, and the same thing happens, it's a red card. So it's kind of tough for Andrew Brace in that sort of way, like, to know what to do because of, the like that ruling. So yeah, I'm a bit torn on it, but initially I did think it was just like a rugby incident.
But how though? Like what I don't personally understand is if you've got a TMO. You have linesmen and you've a ref looking at this. Well, maybe not the ref because it's a split second. Hey, where are we all going now? We're all going, are we? Oh, here we go. We're back.
No, you're still there.
Glitch in the main.
You're freezing.
What I'm saying, Alex, is, sorry, I froze. Alex, what I'm saying is, like, if you have a TMO looking at this, they have the technology, rewind, forward, pause, rewind, play again. I don't understand why it wasn't picked up at the time by the TMO.
I think, no, they did pick it up. Andrew Brace looked at it and he just told, because Vermeulen went over and he just said rugby incident, which is what I thought at the time, to be fair. I'm torn about it, to be honest with you. Like, I could see both sides of the argument. Like, in one sense, he just charged the ball down and it was an unlucky collision. But on the other hand, like, Grant Williams was knocked out as a result of his actions with a hip to the face. So yeah, I'd probably lean slightly towards it being a rugby collision, but I can definitely see both sides of the argument.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Matt Boland, what do you think of that? The citing commissioner overruling, as they do from time to time?
Yeah, look, I mean, as Alex has already alluded to, it was very similar to the CJ Sander incident many years ago in South Africa. He made a genuine attempt to block down the ball, and I do think he got his hand to it. In saying that, when you're off your feet and you've jumped into the air, you've no control over your body whatsoever. So it's a very hard thing to ref. I suppose if he hadn't got the ball or touched the ball at all, it's reckless. Yeah. But I suppose from Andrew Brace's point of view, he saw he made a genuine attempt to block down the ball, got connection with the ball, and therefore he deemed it as a rugby incident, which is probably correct. But the more you see it and the more you look at it, it's great for us sitting watching these things on replay over and over again. when you're on the pitch, it's a split-second decision, really, you know, and you've got to really rely on the background team, the TMOs, to go, okay, no, Andrew, I think you really need to look at this. It's a bit more than a rugby collision. But the game went on. It is what it is, you know. Whether he meant it intentionally or not, I doubt it by the looks of things. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it's just that's the way the game is at the moment, you know. So, you know, the fact he made connection with the ball is enough that he made a genuine attempt to block it.
Okay, Claire Debney.
When do you turn the ball down with your arse as well? I want to know, because he hit him with his arse in the face. It hit him with the hip. So, like, okay, charging the ball down, you're coming forward. It's the whole movement and the whole turn that kind of knocked him out. If he had a cotton head on or front on, it wouldn't have been as bad. I'm a bit torn with. I think it should have been a card. Definitely think it should have been a card, maybe a yellow. But more so, the fact that Andrew Grace let the game go on when your man was knocked out cold. Like a couple of plays, and there was a ruck and all happening, like a couple of meters away from where he was, and he was out cold. And Andrew Grace let the game go on for another couple of probably felt like an eternity to Williams, but for another couple of whiles. So that needs to be reviewed. It's like they're talking about player welfare and everyone, the good of the players. He was knocked out. He should have been seen to a lot quicker, or the ref should have called it a lot quicker. That's my 6 cents worth anyway.
I would agree with you. Yeah, Peter Martin.
Yeah, just basically, I initially was saying it's a rugby incident. Like, you know, it is what it is. Yes, he got knocked out, but absolutely, like, you know, Brace didn't do himself any favors. And the other thing as well is that he missed a concussion on Paulus, the Argentine second row. I don't think he returned to the match. I think he failed a HIA. Like, I think the way it is, like, you know, like, looking at, you know, all the stuff on social media from South African fans and pundits and whatever, like, you know, they went to town on Brace, and if they're just really, like, not rating him at all. To be fair, like, you know, they have justification in that, but I do think it just begs the question, when you look at the actual law, the rule, the law in the game, it basically it's all about intent and recklessness. I think what they just need to do is just basically ban charge downs. It's just that, because it is an all or nothing movement. Like, if you're going in, you're launching your body to try and catch a bit of the ball, and what's going to happen only that you're going to clean someone out. Like, you know, it's a whole different note, you know, with something like that. So I think what they need to do is remove all doubt and basically make it illegal to charge down. I don't know, when I say charge down, that your body, like, the player
can't leave the ground.
The legs don't. They can't be airborne. So it's a running charge down or something like that, because this will go on and on, or something more serious will happen at the World Cup. Potentially.
Someone will get seriously hurt.
Okay, Richard Holland, that particular incident.
Yeah, look, much like the lads are saying, I thought it was a rugby incident, but he does rotate in the air. That's a big thing to me. Now, as Peter said there as well, it potentially, player kicks the ball, he comes down, he lands, and the player's coming across. It's going to, say, catch a player in the knee, break his leg, something like that could happen, and there is potential there to be for a career-ending injury for the kicker. I know your man was knocked out cold, and it was a bad one, and it was because he was sparked out. And Brace did miss that, but to me, there's definitely merit to say that the 2 feet or at least 1 foot should be on the ground if you're attempting a charge down.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
launching yourself.
Okay, Danny.
Yeah, first time I saw it, I said, "Joe, Jesus Christ, that looks bad for Williams, Joe, when he's knocked out." But I think there was contact with the ball with knocked down, but for me, it warranted a card, a yellow at least, because you're seeing World Rugby and referees kind of come in and say, if there's any head contact, it's normally kind of viewed as maybe a red. But since he was already airborne, I'd have been happy with a yellow in that situation, considering how the fact that Wilmsy was literally teed out. He didn't know who he was, where he was right at that. So I think 16 seconds in, yellow would have probably done the good enough in that situation, considering the circumstances of it. Considering he's airborne, there was head contact, but he couldn't exactly control how much contact he had with Williams in. But I think it's just the way everything is. I think we'd be way in on that anyway.
Okay, James Grannon.
What's amusing me there now is for the last 30 seconds while Danny was talking, the pure look of bewilderment on Alex's face. We do have some.
Oh, Bronson, would they shut the fuck up for him? Jesus Christ.
Can you mute him? Can you mute him?
Well, a couple of things there, guys, and you've all touched on it there. The whole rotation in the air. When I saw it, I thought, Jesus, he's up in the air. He can do fuck all about it. But he did turn and he hit him with his ass. I thought he was going to get a headbutt in the nads. So he's reservation as far as I could see, But yeah, we're saying the thing was overruled. But if Andrew Brace had deferred to the TMO, we'd be giving out about that as well. Be saying, look, the ref is either ref in the game or he's not, and he needs to make the decisions. And I think he was on the spot. He saw what he saw. He made his decision, and I think we move on. And okay, it got reviewed in the aftermath and got overruled. But yeah, what do you do? You're in the air. You can't not be in the air. You can't stop your movement forward. All you can do is land where you land.
Yeah.
Just a comment from Mark Hunter, one of the listeners. He's disagreeing with the comments. I'm not actually sure whose comments he's disagreeing with. Disagree with that comment about the charge down. The most risk is with the charger. You're lunging yourself towards boots, so expecting a kick in the teeth, etc. But that's the chance you take. So he's saying more risk is that the person that's charging down, not the person that's being charged. So do we agree with that, or? Okay, we're all just.
Depends how good you are charging down. That's my view on it.
Yeah,
Alex, is there any merit in banning the charge down? Would that work? I can't see it working.
I think maybe just not banning it, but just making sure that you can't turn your hips like that. Because if you're straight on, like kind of a GAA style block, and you're trying to block the trajectory of the ball, you're not really gonna. Yeah. If you clash into them, it might be like you might clash chests, or the less chance of a sharp object of your, like if you turn, you can hit him with your shoulder, with your hip, with the side of your body. Whereas if you're just front on, kind of going like that, I think that would be safer. I think that's maybe one thing you could do. But
what about the idea, Alex, though, of not leaving the ground, just running and hands up, and not jumping, so to speak, as I think Peter or Richard said, or something.
It would be very hard to block. It would be okay for normal kicks, but it would be very hard to block box kicks, especially with teams doing those long caterpillar hooks, because the type of kick it is as well. It's like a loopy. It's only 20 meters, but it's a very loopy kick. They'd be very hard to block. So that would probably benefit some of the bigger slow, like your South Africans. But probably we'll have to do something to help with player safety in that regards, because as everyone's mentioned here, like if 100 kilo rugby player is running full force and jumps and connects with you, could be very dangerous, like we saw on the weekend.
Alex, the last time I checked, you were 6'5". What would you need to jump and block a fucking ball kick for? Particularly against someone like Craig Casey. You just stand there, Alex. You just stand there, all 6'5". You just stand there and go.
Arms up.
Sorry, you're not doing that now. Wait.
Blocking down one hand. No, it's more for the scrum halves and the fly halves.
Oh God! All right, okay, hold on. Sorry, folks. I'm just looking at comments here coming in. We're too critical. Sorry. The right and wrong way to charge a ball down, but turning your hip into the face is all wrong. That's a safety.
Thanks. I agree with you, Mark, on that one. And happy birthday, Mark. That's Mark Hunter making that comment, and it says happy birthday today.
Oh, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Mark.
Okay.
See, we told you Peter's not very tech savvy. He's trying to read the screen and post the comments. See,
multitasking.
Yeah,
he's not very good at multitasking. Sorry. I
love
you too, Peter.
Thank you very much. If you're trying to about your message, yeah, okay, right, got that. Now, okay, right, Grant, point made, point discussed, and all well received points there made. Now, I'm going to go to you, Alex, again first on this one. Before we talk about the games that happened last weekend, the new Irish women's rugby coach, we were meant to talk about this last week, but like always, we shoot off on tangents sometimes, and we ran out of time last week. So the new women's rugby coach, this guy, Scott Bemand, I don't know. He's a ex-Harlequins, Leicester and Bath player. He was also the backroom staff for the English women's rugby team in 2017 and 2021. Is this guy? Do you know much about him? Is he like? Is this what Irish women's rugby need? This kind of serious injection. Take it serious, folks.
Yeah, well, that's probably two dominant forces in the women's game is definitely England and France. And as you said, he was part of the England backroom staff, so he knows exactly what it takes to succeed and be dominant in the Women's Six Nations. So I think it was a bit of a tough year for them this year. You know what I mean? Lost and stuff, but I think they'll grow from that and they'll learn from that. And the lows happen for a reason, like they happen to drive desire. So I think all the girls will be fired up to correct their mistakes, and a new coach coming in with his level of experience will be awesome for them. And I really hope they do well because there's a lot of talent in the squad.
There is, yeah. There's a comment there for you, Alex, going on your height. Alex charges down conversions and penalties.
Try my best anyway.
Okay, Matt Boland.
Yeah, well, look,
the new Irish women's coach.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. That's been blatantly honest. But as Alex said, like he was background staff for the England women's rugby team, so he knows what he's doing. He knows what they need to do to up their games. We've talked about it many times in many different shows of how disappointed they were this season on their results. But again, they're only newly professional. They're only building. It can only get better. This is the low point for them. The only way is up. And getting coaches like him that have got such a good background and reputation for other clubs, especially in the Six Nations, especially with England, and they doing so well, it's only a good thing for Ireland. So happy days.
And he's an ex-player, Matt, as well, which also helps.
Absolutely. So he knows the game inside and out. It's only going to be a good thing for the Ireland girls, and best of luck for them. Best of luck for him in the future, and can't wait to see what he can do.
Yeah. Okay, Richard Holland.
Yeah, exactly what Matt said there. We're obviously going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and the fact that he's coming from such a successful England setup, in my view, can only help Ireland to drive them on to bring in new techniques that weren't there before, to be able to basically, I suppose it's the wrong word, but poach off the success of what England have done, and to have a coach there who can do that. And obviously, he's well regarded. He obviously had chops there. So I think he'll do well.
Okay, good stuff. Peter Martin.
Yeah, just to echo what everyone else has said, he's like it's a statement, I think, by the IRFU, which was badly needed from a PR perspective.
Yeah.
He's got the pedigree clearly. So if there was a doubt, if there was a question mark over whether the IRFU were going to go serious with the women's game, I think they might well have answered it. But look, just watch and see, and it'll be interesting to see how much of a change in the personnel, if any, will happen. Obviously he's a different coach, different fresh pair of eyes, and have different ideas about what he can get out of the players that are available to him. So interesting to watch and see.
Okay, James Grannon.
No, nothing about him, but I do have a question for Alex, kind of unrelated. You're kind of famous for your long flowing locks, as is Cian Prendergast. And I wonder, do you exchange tips on hair products and stuff like that as well?
I've got down before. Yeah, I've been growing my hair for a while now, so yeah, might have to get on to him soon. I think he's gone to be shorter now, has he? He's cut his hair.
I haven't seen him
Yeah,
since.
seen the photograph he has.
Alex,
Burke was looking for a few tips there as well, actually.
no, I tell you, Alex, it's because you're worth it. Go on there now.
It's all right.
Showing your age with that one, Mr. Burke.
Yeah,
Showing
exactly.
your age with that one.
No boys are just jealous of your locks because they can't grow it anymore. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all it is.
Burke doesn't have much thatch in the roof.
No. It's a solar panel for a sex machine.
That is a vision in my head I do not need. Oh my God, no!
All right.
Oh God! Excuse me while I vomit for a minute.
Danny
That's bad.
Brosnan.
Oh God. Let me wipe my memory there of that solar panel fucking comment.
No, don't say it. Don't say it again. Don't say it, please. No, don't say it again. No. Don't say it again. No.
Solar panel.
No, God. I'm muting you now. I'm putting you on mute. How do I put you on mute?
Go on, Bronson. Will you answer the fucking question? Go on.
Well,
Patience, Mark. Patience. No, but I think it's a very good sign so far at the moment on paper, because you have an attack coach coming into the Ireland squad that's been with the England squad that's had 2 back-to-back Grand Slams, runners up in last year's World Cup as well. But the only problem I have with it, he's coming into a team with a lot of young players there, maybe inexperienced players as well, that lost her captain 2 weeks ago, Nicola Friday, when she announced her international retirement.
We're coming to that. Go.
But I think he's a lot of work to do as well. So it's going to take a bit of time to get everything in place. So I'd say it could be the end of the next year, 6 days before we see any sort of progress as to what's going on and what he's doing. But yeah, on paper, great signing so far.
Okay, good stuff. Claire.
yeah, just bring him in and let's see what you can do. It can't be as bad as it was last year. And that's not because the girls gave it. As you know, I went to Scotland for the ladies match. The girls gave it their heart and soul. So I mean, I know there's 1 or 2 that won't be back because college. 1 or 2 of them are going to traveling, and 1 or 2 is going. Well, no, for definite 2 that are going to college. So just give him the reins and let him give him the girls, give him the stuff to do what he can do. And let's all not sit in judgment. It's not going to change instantly. He's not going to play his first game and we're going to be great. And it's not going to play as amazing and we're going to beat everyone. It's going to be a building process. It's going to be step by step and building blocks. Remember when Ireland weren't great? So it's the same. It's the same. It's a step by step process. It's building blocks.
I've been going to rugby matches in Lansdowne Road since 1985. I'm well aware how bad Ireland were back then.
So leave it. And I see they're putting I see they're putting the ladies into pros on the same day as the Ireland versus England game. 1 o'clock tickets. And if you were against a season ticket holder, note you can get free tickets for the ladies into pros with your season ticket.
Right. Okay. Now, Alex, Danny, you touched on it there, Nicola Friday. Alex, Nicola Friday, retiring at 28.
I need a beer.
Is there... Jesus, I mean, what's... I don't know, do you think is that correct? Is there... 28 years of age it just seems very young. Looking at Johnny Sexton being, 10 years older. Do you think there was something else there with Nicola, or do you just think it was just I've had enough?
It's hard to say. I wouldn't like to make too much of a comment over just because I don't know her. But I will say is she does play second row, so very attritional position. She's the captain, so she has to lead from the front. So she has to put her body on the line, every game, which definitely adds up. So I'd say it is tough on the body. And then, there could be stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know that's kind of private to her.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people don't get to retire on their terms, due to the nature of the game, just to injuries, etc. But no, she was such a good servant to Irish rugby, and I'm delighted that she could. I'm not delighted that she's retired, but delighted that she could do it on her own terms, which is a privilege that not many people get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, sure. But then again, Alex, the position you play in is very attritional too.
Yeah, it is. But you even see how much injuries it caused. I don't know. You look at someone like Sam Underhill. He's very young. He was very promising talent, probably one of the best flankers in the world a year or two ago. But then just the injuries took it out of him, or probably closer to home, like Dan Levy. Were probably best flankers in the world before he got injured, and then unfortunately got that injury. So it is a very attritional position. It's a back row second. In the whole forward pack, really, it's a tough place to be just because of the nature of position and how many more collisions you're involved in, etc.
Yeah, true.
Just a comment there on what Alex said about people retiring on their own terms. We all know Stuart Hogg retired. Has anyone seen his interview about why he retired?
Yeah,
about doing it on his own terms and for his own reasons. Now, I know Mr. Burke is not a great fan of Mr. Hogg, so there probably will be faces. But it's about doing it on your own.
No, I'm not a fan of Stuart Hogg. There's a few other Scottish players we could mention. I'm not a fan of either. But I read what Stuart Hogg said, and you gotta just respect the guy for making that decision. It couldn't have been easy. And I know I slagged him in the past, but you gotta go. Hat tip to the man. When your time is up.
Yeah, and he done it on, as Alex said, he done it on his own terms and made his decision. It wasn't an injury that made him go out.
True. Okay.
It's important.
It's important.
Matt's talking.
That Nicola Friday did it for her personal terms as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So whatever's going on there, she's doing it for herself, and that's probably a good enough reason for her, whatever that may be. But you just have to say fair play to her anyway.
Yeah. And well done, and thanks for the service, Nicola.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Richard, Pete, Danny, James?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of surprising to me that she decided to retire at 28 internationally because she's still playing with club rugby with Exeter, I believe, over in England in the Women's Premiership over there. But it's kind of concerning to me that you've had two captains retire in 2 years on the women's side of the game. You had Keira Griffin at 27 retire as well after the World Cup. After the failure to qualify for the World Cup and the November sessions, and now Nicola Friday as well. At that age, to me personally, it feels like there's something off, and there's a little bit more going on that the two of them retired so quick like that. So that's my take. Take it from that perspective, but she was a great servant. I think she did do the best job she could do as captain, and I've nothing but good things to say about her from player perspective. But best of luck in the future as well.
Actually, you know what, lads and ladies, I was just thinking, who we should have got on for this particular? We should have got Fiona Coughlin back on.
Yeah, we should have actually. Yeah. No, we can get her again.
The only thing I'd say on Nicola Friday is we don't know what her body is telling her. You know what I mean? At 28 or 38 or whatever. She feels that the pressure is too much. Fair enough. She's 100% entitled to just to step away.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a very good comment that came in just there from Megan. I think it could be maybe that they just don't see women's Irish rugby changing, and they've lost hope, which is so sad.
I
Like,
don't know, but I don't. I wouldn't.
yeah, no, just as a comment from one of our listeners.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. James Grennan, any comments on the Nicola Friday incident or Peter Martin or any?
I'm just glad that she played, and we had the privilege to see her play, and just to thank her for everything she did for Irish rugby.
Yeah,
Absolutely. All the best to her.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen and ladies, the games we'll fly through them because. Go on, Claire.
Sorry, just there's a very good comment there. A couple of comments back from, I think it's Sarah Weston again. Alex, it's you, yourself, and James Law will have to share their rights for the shampoo.
Hopefully.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alex.
Looks like we sparked a bit of a discussion there as well, because they were saying that who did say shaved his head as well there? Jordan Armour has shaved his head.
Jordan Armour shaved his head, yeah, he looks, yeah.
Shirley Thornton, thank you, Shirley. You said it was a great question, and yep, Keane's shorter now. So
yeah.
There we go.
No fighting over the shower heads in the Aviva anymore.
Like the lads and ladies touch, Peter. Sexism is dead. Okay, fair enough. Whatever that means. Here we go. She's been amazing and will be so missed. I presume that's a reference. Yes, it is in reference to Nicola Friday. Okay, folks. That's the aside, the tangents done with. I just want to touch on there. We're on 41 minutes already. Holy Jesus, where's the time go? Last weekend's games. Alex, did you watch Australia v New Zealand?
Yeah, I watched both the games. I think two things I took from the game was just Australia aren't in as bad of a place as people think they are. I think up until 56 minutes, they were in the game. And then New Zealand run away with it. And the second thing I took from it is just like it seems like New Zealand are back to that kind of ruthless New Zealand they used to be. Like the way they just turned it on for the last 20, 25 and just blew them out the water, made it look like it was a hammering. Which doesn't bode well for us, obviously, because we're hopefully playing them, or we could be playing them in a quarter. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good game. Like Australia did a lot of good things. Scored first, put a lot of pressure on the All Blacks. The All Blacks just more clinical. Like you could just see anytime they got into the Australia 22, like they came away with points, whereas Australia will kind of, do a lot of good stuff, but then not be able to execute in that final third, which is frustrating for them. But yeah, I thought it was a good game, and a lot of good things from both teams.
Alex, I thought Australia were fucking shite. Seriously,
you always.
I did. No, I'm not trying to be flippant. I just thought. I mean, they scored brilliant. Yeah, they scored the first try, and they were leading for whatever 20 minutes or whatever the hell it was. But they just for
didn't score the first try anyway.
Or whatever it was. But they just, for a national squad, Alex, they had no answer for the All Blacks. We did when we played them. Other teams do when they play them. But Australia, I don't know what the hell. Is it Eddie Jones? I know I've slagged him in the group. Hand up, yeah, I take the piss out of him. But what is it with Australia? Like, they're such a rugby powerhouse. And they come out and play like that.
Yeah, well, again, Eddie Jones. I don't know whether you think some people think he's a good coach, some people think he's a bad coach, but it's only his third game in charge, and no matter how bad he does, he always has a way of turning it on for World Cups. Like I don't know how. Like he got to the final in 2019, caused that massive, probably the biggest upset ever in 2015. Did he get to the final Australia in 2003, and then won it with South Africa in 2007. So he's just one of those people that kind of reminds me a bit of like Jose Mourinho in football.
Don't mention that sport here. Sorry, don't mention that sport. Please.
I won't watch football, but he just seems like one of those coaches who just knows how to whether you like him or don't like him, like his track record in the World Cup speak for themselves. Like he just knows what to do, or how to get a result. So I know they're looking not great at the moment, but I'm sure come World Cup time, especially given their side of the group as well, probably an easier pool than Ireland and stuff. So I say Australia could be a bit of a dark horse this World Cup.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Are they lulling us? Are they lulling everyone into a false sense of security that we'll play right, and then they get to the World Cup and absolutely hammer through?
Who's the Australia or the All Blacks?
Yeah, Australia.
Well, could well
The
be,
All Blacks
yeah,
are far. The All Blacks are firing. Australia are not really firing.
I was in Australia 10 years ago on a holiday, and even going back then, yeah, Aussie rules number one, always will be. Rugby league, soccer, and then union. That's how far union has fallen.
Yeah, that's how far it's fallen back. Yeah.
It hasn't changed in 10 years. It hasn't changed in 10 years, Richard. That's probably still
yeah, most likely, and it's a sad thing to see because everyone rugby needs a strong Australia, like they need a strong Ireland and a strong England.
I'll tell you the one thing Eddie Jones does. I'll tell you the one thing he does well.
Antagonise you.
No, he doesn't run. But what Eddie Jones does well is he brings attention to the game. He gets column inches on websites. He gets column inches in newspapers. He's a PR machine, that fella. That's the only thing.
He generated again. That's like going back to the remark that Alex made about Mourinho, that he's just there and he'll say something, an off the cuff comment, and they're all over it, you know.
Yeah, and he's shite in two hemispheres now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. I'm losing track of who I've asked the question to. Matt Boland, I haven't asked you that game, the Australia versus New Zealand.
That's the one game I didn't see. I saw the other game, so I only saw highlights. I'm just wary of any Southern Hemisphere team, and come World Cup, like as Alex has pointed out, Eddie Jones has a great track record in the World Cup, whether you like it or not. It's fact. So God only knows what he can do and turn around. It's still 4 or 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
Sorry, 40 days.
Well, hold on a second.
40 days.
40 days.
40 days. A Southern Hemisphere team.
Look, you can't write off any
France?
team.
What about France? What about France?
What about France?
Because
What about France?
You know, look, in any good day, the top 6 in the world can beat each other on a good day. So it's so hard to know what's going to turn up. We just have to concentrate on what we have to do on our side and forget about the other side until we need to worry about it.
Okay, great job. Peter Martin.
I was going to ask Alex a question. Is there a player current either within your own squad or internationally that you would look up to and say, there's a guy who I can model myself on, and if I can get to where he'll be, I'm going to be, I'm going to achieve everything I want to be in the game. Is there somebody out there, Alex, just as a question?
Yeah, definitely. I think Frizzell at the moment for the All Blacks is just on a different level, like how well he's playing. I think against South Africa, he beat something like 10 defenders in the first half. He can just do a bit of everything. Like, he's a big, kind of tall person, so he's a good line-out option. Serious in defense, but then like his point of difference is like you can see how good he is in attack. Like he can run over people. He can use his feet, which I like. He's like an extra ball player. Going out to backs and moving into space. So I think he's the real deal. I think people like starting to see it now, but I think like during the World Cup they'll really see how much of a world-class talent he is.
Yeah. It's just that I was going to point towards, I suppose, maybe Scott Barrett, because like he was absolutely fucking immense against Australia. He's won so much as a second row option, as well as playing at 6 for the All Black. But just as a general kind of comments on the game, Australia played for an hour and then they stopped. They lost their 2 tie heads. I think Australia, are a bit like, I suppose, ourselves up to relatively recently. We were very badly stuck for good props. The other thing I'd say as well is, and this is a general comment I suppose going forward, is I just don't think Australia, and I've said it before, I don't think Australia have enough in their leadership space. And I think Alala Toa being the captain, the reactions of the players when he was going off, they were really distraught to see him going off the pitch. So he means a lot to them. yeah, you've got Eddie Jones has got that has got, love him or loathe him, he does have something that gets. Like on paper, he is still probably one of the best coaches in world rugby. I still think he's a good coach, despite the fact everybody's saying he's shite in two hemispheres, which is probably fair enough comment with recent results. But I do think Australia, I just don't see it where they're going to pull an 80-minute performance out of a team ranked above them and really can make a statement, because they're lacking leadership. They aren't playing a full 80 minutes, and they're, as Alex rightly pointed out, they don't have the efficiency. They've been so clinical in the red zone to create points. So how many times, like, they lived in the Australian the All Black 22 for about 20, I think might have been upwards of 20 minutes overall in the game, and they came away with nothing. So they need to. That's a significant issue for Jones, because Karevi was amazing for the first half of the match. He was on fire at 12. The All Blacks couldn't handle him. Jordy Barrett was like, where is he on the pitch? Couldn't see him. Gordon looked full of possibilities. Wasn't great with the kicking. And Corabetti, in the left wing, when he's on, like if he just basically uses his arms to complete attack, he's world class at number 11. So like they have Australia have talent there, but they just, I think, lack a few key areas for the World Cup.
Well, I tell you, Pete, and I said this here, and Alex, this will interest you. An interesting stat that I came across. Normally, when the All Blacks get into the opposition 22, it's 7 phases and they score a try. If they score a try, it's normally 7 phases, opposition 22, try scored. When Will Jordan, I remember, Pete, I said this to you into the chat group.
Yeah.
The one good thing that Australia did show was their defence, because when Will Jordan went over at I think there was the halftime mark, Pete. With Jordan's that was 20 phases that the All Blacks were in their 22. So that kind of shows that the Australian defence, was working to a point. If you're going to deny the All Blacks that sort of phase play in your 22. So I just thought that was an important point to show. Hold on, there's something coming in here. Right. Anyway. Danny Brosnan, quickly, because we're fast running out of time. Australia versus
Didn't see the game. I didn't see the game.
Okay, good luck. Go on. Your surface requirements.
Here, lads.
Go away. James Grennan.
Yeah, I saw the Australia v the All Barretts game. All right, so I did. It's quite good. That tackle on the scrum half on when Australia had their line out on their 5-meter line. Jesus Christ, such a hit! That was incredible. And there was a couple of line breaks in that game. It's just frightening to think the All Blacks can switch it on like that, and they are going to be. As Alex said earlier, they're back to what they used to be. They're starting to click. It's worrying for the World Cup. I can't see beyond them for the World Cup.
All right, okay, Claire, quickly.
Yeah, great game. But I will say, Scotty Barrett was being a bit of a dickhead with all the, and whatever about that.
Yeah.
At one stage, he had got Nick White. Okay, I'll give him that because he's mouthy. But at one stage, he had Nick White on the ground, and he actually had his arm up to his neck while he was doing it.
Don't tell me it was his mustache.
Great charge down for the first try. Like, talking about charge downs, he did charge it down for the first try, and no one got injured in that one. So there you go. But the All Blacks they're firing. The All Blacks are firing, and they're going to be tough when they come to the World Cup. Like,
it's what the All Blacks do in the cycle, though, and it's always coming in the World Cup year. You see,
they always get.
They're hitting that upward curve.
Yeah.
Alex, is the All Black revival? Is that anything to do with Joe Schmidt's influence?
It's funny you made that stat about. I was going to talk about it. The stat about the 20 phases. He'd be like Joe. I've never coached by him, but everyone will be saying how much he'd focus on ball control and not giving away, keeping possession and not giving it away. And I think that's one thing that you really see in this new, like, I don't want to say new All Blacks team, but revived All Blacks team, how much they hold the ball. Like, they don't panic. I didn't have a stat for you, but you actually made a great stat there. They scored, or they 20 phases before they scored that try before halftime. So you can see that kind of his handprint coming onto the team. He's definitely had a massive impact on them. Yeah, and they've also got I think one thing that people don't really talk about is they got a new forwards coach, Jason Ryan. His name, Jason Ryan, from the Crusaders. If you watch this, South Africa probably have the best scrum in the world, and New Zealand got on top of them at scrum time, which no one really ever does, just because the sheer size of the South Africans. So I think the combination of those two new coaches has made a massive difference.
Yeah. Has Mr. Burke froze?
He's frozen, or else he's very in pensive mood.
He's gone. No, he's back again.
Jazz hands.
It's okay. He's still there.
Yeah.
I thought the Heinaway had got him.
Sorry, Alex. I missed the end of Alex. Your point there. Sorry about that. You're saying so. Joe Schmidt. The face.
It's okay. We heard it and everyone else heard it. Everyone.
Yeah, I was just saying that they got a new coach as well, Jason Ryan, who's very good, and you can see it in their scrum how well they're doing against teams.
Right. Okay. Right job. The last we got 4 minutes left, folks. The last game I think of significance, Alex, I'll go back to you. South Africa versus Argentina.
Yeah.
South Africa were fucking average at best.
Yeah. No, Argentina.
If they had a kicker, South Africa would have won that game.
If Buffetti was on the pitch, they would have won that game.
Yeah, Alex, what do you think?
I think Argentina should have won the game, but I think the thing with South Africa that people forget about is, number one, they all play in different areas of the world, and number two, nearly half their team plays in Japan, which isn't a very good league compared to the Premiership or the top 14 in the URC. So I just think it takes them a few games to get up to speed. I don't think that they're worse players. I think you can just kind of tell the South African lads aren't up to it at the moment, just because it's such a big difference going from the Japanese league into top level test match rugby. Whereas, say the New Zealand team, they've just come off a Super Rugby season where they're all playing in 3 or 4 different teams. Same with the Australians. So I think they just need a bit of time to click. Like I can't imagine South Africa will be that poor come the World Cup.
I'm just going to ask you, Alex, how do you think South Africa will get on in the World Cup? Because we've had several guests on here that say they're not going to get out of that group.
I could just see them like physically dominating Scotland. Like Scotland,
well, that wouldn't be fucking hard now, Alex. In fairness,
yeah, that's true. That's the biggest team in the world. So I could see them beating them, getting out the group, and then they're one of the best teams in knockout rugby, isn't it? Really low risk, high focus on set piece and defense. Like you saw how the manner in which they won the last World Cup. So I think once they get out the group and get into knockout rugby, there'll be a proper challenge to be.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks for that, Alex. Good points. Matt Boland.
Yeah, just
22 points to 21. South Africa edging that game.
Look, South Africa, when teams put it up to South Africa and front up physically, South Africa seem to just, they're not able to cope, or they can't, they're not ready for physicality. They just think they're going to go onto a pitch and bully teams off the pitch. And when teams actually front up and put it to their pack, they look average. And as Alex said, I think Argentina, they missed an opportunity. They should have won that. If they had a kicker, they probably would have won that game. And it would have been a kick in the bollocks for South Africa, because they would have been moaning and groaning about something or other. But as Alex said, they're a different beast in the World Cup. They're just, when they get out of the group and they're in knockout rugby, they're a different team altogether. And we can't take them. Nobody can take them lightly, you know. And as long as we can do what we need to do in the group and progress and get to quarterfinal and beyond, hopefully we won't probably have to worry about them after that. And that's
Okay.
the thing, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Richard Holland.
Yeah. I only seen bits of the game now, I'll be honest with you, but Argentina left that game behind them. They really did. And was it 2 conversions and a penalty missed from the Argentinians?
Three penalties on the conversion.
So there you go. There's
You get 11 points on the pitch.
There's 11 points on the pitch.
11 points on the pitch,
yeah. Look, but South Africa always seem to do it in the World Cup. They always seem to be able to turn it on. Much like New Zealand. New Zealand are the same. They just show up and they perform. Yeah, look, I still think they'll come out of the group with us. Scotland will be on the plane home. I think that as well. So,
all right, fair enough. Peter Martin.
What really kind of struck me about Argentina was that the pure trouble they caused South Africa when they got it wide. Like there was a phase of play. I think it was literally before there was the turnover tackle, which resulted in Libbok getting his try. But Argentina had South Africa shipping themselves. They managed. I kept on thinking the ball's going to break down. Because the main South Africans did what they did, since they were straight up in their face. It was 100% pressure. But Argentina still managed to get their handling skills were superb. The catch pass, everything was clicking, and they were really bothering the South Africans. I do think the South Africans, if they can't beat you up physically, they struggle to find a way to win a game.
Yeah. Now you've said that before, Pete. You've said that several times, and I agree with you.
You know, and I follow a couple of guys who are big into the analysis on Twitter, and I've asked the question. One or two of them came back and they're saying, "Oh yeah, look, I'm going to have a look at that because it's one of these things. Have South Africa tweaked the game plan? Have they got something else in the locker? A little bit of complexity or sophistication that will add to what they do already." And I personally don't see anything. Like there was one stage, and I said this there the other week when we saw them playing against New Zealand, that they shaped for a box kick and all of a sudden went out the back. Williams was out of half. It went 10-12. And then I think whoever was playing 13, I think Graham was playing 13, boot the ball. And now they got up the pitch, great surgery. Like it didn't look the way Leinster did it. It didn't look the way the All Blacks do it. It looked artificial, it looked wooden, it looked unnatural. So it just basically begs the question of like if they're working on a plan B, they're not doing enough of it to make it look convincing and make it work. Now look, we've said it already, South Africa turn up for World Cups and they win World Cups. But like, all you have to do is basically stand up to them and make them sweat, make them think, and say, right, lads, give them a game physically and say, right, how are you going to beat us? And I think they struggle.
Yeah. Okay. We're over the hour mark. So
we're an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Very briefly, Danny Brosnan, you've got 1 minute.
Didn't see the game, but I.
Grant. Okay, your service requirements. James Grannon.
Yeah, all I'd say is it was refreshing not to have the Safas given out about the ref.
Right. Claire.
Yeah, great game. It was a great game. If Buffelli had been there, they would have won it. There was 11 points theft on that pitch. They'll beat them in Argentina. They'll beat them in Argentina this week, and then it will be the rest fault.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, folks, that's all we've got time for. We're 3 minutes over time. Matt Boland, Richard Holland, Claire Devaney, Peter Martin, Danny Brosnan, James Grennan, and my sincere thanks to you, Alex, for taking an hour out of your day.
Cheers, Alex.
Joining us.
Good luck for the season.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks a million,
Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good for the season, Alex.
All the best.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hopefully,
See you later.